Travelogue, we head to the outskirts of the ancient city of Luoyang. We come face to face with the giants of the spectacular Longmen Grottos, stroll through the gardens of China's first official Buddhist temple, and get a taste of the delicious and elaborate Luoyang water banquet.
We're in the ancient city of Luoyang, which is a haven of history. Now, there's plenty of Chinese culture to be learned about inside the city, but further afield, there's also so much to see. And today, we're going to take you to the cradle of Chinese Buddhism. Hi, I'm Katrina Yu, and welcome to Travelogue. But first, let's start out in the iconic and spectacular Longmen Grottos.
The Longmen Grottos are situated about 12 kilometers southeast of Luoyang city center. It's an hour-long bus ride, but the area also has its own train station. A 15-minute train journey will take you to the grottos, which occupy a 1-kilometer stretch facing the Yi River.
Okay, so here at the entrance of the Longmen Grottos, I've got my ticket with a very handy map on it, and they provide audio guides, which is really useful because there's lots of information to take in. But if you're more like me and you prefer a bit more of a one-to-one experience, you can hire your very own personal guide. Hi, I'm Katrina.
Hi, I'm Lily. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lily. I see you've come from the tourist center?
Yeah, the tourist center, they can provide the hot water, newspaper, umbrella.
The Longmen Grottos are considered one of the finest examples of Chinese Buddhist art in the country and were inscribed on the World Heritage List in the year 2000. There are more than 2,000 caves altogether. The 3 Binyang caves were built around 1,500 years ago.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, according to the history book, Binyang Cave, they were built by the Emperor Xiaowen of Wei Dynasty. He used 24 years to build a sculpture for his father and mother to pray.
This one here in particular.
Yeah, for the labor, about 800,000 of labor to the craft.
800,000 for one cave or
Only
for the
one cave.
For one cave.
Yeah,
That's
cave.
amazing.
Yeah.
I like this cave in particular because it has a very significant story attached to it. It was built by Emperor Xiaowen, and during the Wei Dynasty there was a particular tradition. Once the emperor is named as the next leader of the country, they would then execute the mother, and he was named at the age of 3 as the next emperor. This was to prevent the mother from having too much power over her young son. So when you look at this cave and you look at the happy, smiling faces, you feel the devotion that the emperor must have had to his parents and to his mother, even though he lost her at such a young age.
The statues in the Longmen Grottos were built mainly during the Northern Wei and Tang dynasties, and the differences between the periods can be seen in the statues themselves. Those sculpted during the rule of the Northern Wei, 300 to 500 AD, tend to appear livelier in expression, more gentle and delicate, while the statues built around 300 years later during the Tang dynasty reflect the ideal of beauty in that time, a fuller figure with round face and broad shoulders.
You know, what I really think is cool about this place is that you can come up and close and pretty much touch history. Now, when Lily was telling me about the men who would spend half their lives doing it, I just imagine these men every single day waking up and with their little hammer and chisel very carefully making these little marks. You can still see that in the little details today. It really is an amazing thing.
So, this one we call the 10,000 Buddha cave.
Oh, wow.
Because they have 15,000 small Buddha on both walls, only 4 centimeters, like this.
Oh, right. When I saw the patterns on the walls, actually, I just thought they were normal patterns. I didn't realize they're tiny Buddhas.
Yeah, tiny Buddha. Yeah.
The 10,000 Buddha or 1-4 cave was built in 680 AD under the patronage of Empress Wu Zetian and her family. Despite the name, there are actually more than 15,000 Buddha images sculpted here, reflecting the prosperity and power of the Tang period. Wu Zetian was the only female emperor in Chinese history, and she was also a devotee of Buddhism, and she commissioned this cave to be constructed under the supervision of two other women, a court official named Yao Shen Biao and a nun, Zhi Yun. During the Tang Dynasty, women were given unparalleled status and influence, and it's perhaps the only period in ancient China where 3 females could have spearheaded such an elaborate and expensive project. But no amount of grandeur can save these caves from the passing of time, and preservation initiatives are underway to help protect them from erosion and water damage. But the advancing years have done some good, and now the grottos are here for everyone to enjoy, whereas they were once only accessible to the rich and powerful.
Lily, I understand that this was all built on a cliff before. Was it very hard to get to this area?
The transportation is very convenient.
Oh.
Yeah, so you're on the road with like...
Oh, right. Butterflies are little bow ties.
Yes, actually it's the two to connect the stone, the built Qing Dynasty.
Oh, so they actually built a road especially for the grottos
Yeah,
here.
they want to protect the bank.
Wow.
So this one looks stone.
These may look like steps, and they are, but they feel more like a red carpet because they lead us to this, the star of the Longmen Grottos, Fengxian, or ancestor worshipping temple. This monumental shrine is the largest of the grottos on the West Hill. It's more than 30 meters wide and features 17 meters tall figures flanking the central Vairocana Buddha. It was again built for Wu Zetian, who's said to have donated a massive amount of her own money to fund its construction, prompting other aristocrats to do the same. The face of the Vairocana Buddha has been called the Chinese Mona Lisa because of its artistic beauty, meticulously crafted with a tranquil and dignified expression. It's even rumored that the face of the Vairocana was modeled on Wu Zetian, an acclaimed beauty herself.
Oh, it's really hard to describe the feeling of being in this place. It's completely overwhelming, and I'm sure no amount of camera work will do it justice. Being here in the presence of these giants, these statues, whether you're Buddhist or not, you can't help but feel that you're in the presence of something sacred, of something powerful. And you know what else? What I love is the look of each of these eyes. They're either serene or, like over here, they're fierce. But they each seem to pose every visitor to the Longmen Grotto the question, even a challenge. Who are you and why have you come? And I'm sure the answer for each and every individual who comes face to face with these giants will be completely different.
My visit to the Longmen Grottos has been an unforgettable encounter with history, and I'm sure it will be for you too. But there's still plenty more to see in this area, such as the garden celebrating the life and work of Bai Juyi. He was a great Tang Dynasty official and poet, and many of his works are still popular today. Bai Juyi's grave and plaques recounting his best-known poetry can be found here, as well as some peace and quiet, perfect for enjoying a relaxing afternoon.
So we saw the Longmen Grottos by day, but we've come back here on a really nice summer evening. Now it's really worth coming back here on a Friday or Saturday night because you'll be able to then see the Longmen Grottos in a completely different light. Literally.
From April to October, between 7:30 and 11 in the evening, visitors can take in a glittering view of the Longmen Grottos blanketed in colourful lights. I think the intricately designed illumination adds to the mystery and intrigue of the place. And not only that, it's also quite romantic. Locals and tourists alike flock to the riverbank to enjoy a chilled-out evening with family and friends. And here's a tip. Bring a camera with a decent night setting because you'll definitely want to use it. Still to come on Travelogue, we visit the cradle of Chinese Buddhism and sit down to the elaborate banquet of emperors. I also get schooled in cooking from a local master. Just outside Luoyang, about 12 kilometers to the east, lies another bastion of ancient Chinese belief.
More than 2,000 years ago, the first official Buddhist temple was built here in Luoyang. And after all this time, it still stands, a thriving temple of prayer and learning, and an icon of the beginning of Chinese Buddhism.
Baimat Se, or White Horse Temple, was established in 68 AD by the Eastern Han Dynasty Emperor Ming. According to the legend, the emperor had a vision of a Buddha, and afterwards sent 2 messengers to the west to bring Buddhism back to China. The emissaries returned with 2 monks from India and 2 white horses carrying Buddhist writings and relics on their backs. To express his gratitude, the emperor built this temple, and although small compared to others around the country, Baimat Se's status as the cradle of Chinese Buddhism is unrivaled. Because it's so well known, many devotees flock here and can even lunch with the masters. I'm honored to have the chance to meet senior monk Master Qing Yun. He's an example of modern monkhood, holding a master's degree in Buddhism and taking up a very prestigious position while still quite young, only in his 40s.
这里的出家师傅这么平衡那个自己的修行和路友游客的影响。
这样呢是通常的时候呢，我们会把自己修行的时间放在晚上。如果是白天来的时候呢，通常我们是认为呢。这个也是跟佛教的一种结缘为了让人们有生欢喜心吧，佛教里边讲叫结善缘，我们通常呢会采取这种迎来送往我们对这个问题是这样看待的
这样
In the course of many centuries, Baimat Se hosted numerous monks from ancient India, many of whom helped to popularize Buddhism in Luoyang and eventually spread the faith throughout China and further afield to Korea, Japan and Vietnam. Much of what can be seen today was rebuilt during the Ming Dynasty around 500 years ago, but the temple's heyday was during the Tang era, specifically the time of Wu Zetian. She expanded the original grounds, and at its height, the temple was home to around 3,000 monks. Now, unlike the devoted believers who regularly visit the temple, we're not allowed to stay for lunch. So, we head back to the city to check out another iconic Luoyang establishment, albeit a less sacred one.
The most famous food to have here in Luoyang is called shui xi, and here we are at the most famous place that does it.
Restaurant Zhen Butong specializes in shui xi, which translates as water banquet.
Hey, what a welcome.
The meal comprises 24 dishes served in a particular order, one after the other like flowing water, hence the name. It originated during the Tang Dynasty and was a favorite of Wu Zetian. The sweet, salty and sour soupy dishes perfectly suit Luoyang's dry climate, and each has a particular meaning, which Chef Li Yubin helps to explain.
这个是七字冰，各位，我们的菜系啊。这个七字冰是大家知道，中国象棋在我们国家是历史比较悠久，特别是唐朝比较盛行。这个就是吴黄，就是命御厨把这个小饼做成这个棋子的形状，以供与王公大臣们随时娱乐使用。下面这个菜是驼蹄羹，这道菜也是唐朝宫廷的一个名菜。古代有个诗人就是专门写了一首诗，就是赞美这个菜的。 大家可以看一下这个菜呢，木乃岩菜也是水系中的一道比较特别的大菜。这个就是牡丹花的造型。这个菜有一个传说，就是武则天在品尝后感觉这个是大有这个燕窝的风味，大家可以品尝一下。
Well, we're going to start, and I know which one I'm going to try first. It has some soup in it, so it has a bit of a sour taste. It's very light and refreshing. And the way that the radish is prepared makes it very fluffy and very pleasant in your mouth.
xueXi is considered one of the three wonders of Luoyang and has been served to important visitors to the city for centuries. Henan is one of China's biggest agricultural provinces and produces a lot of flour. This is perhaps the reason why heavy and saucy dishes are favored by locals. After the meal, I'm invited into the kitchen to learn how my favorite of the dishes is made. Me, take to the chopping board. Now this will be interesting.
你好，董事长。这个是衣服，
对，这是工作服。
好了 ，Well, I might as well look the part if I'm gonna cook the part. 谢谢。好了。How do I look? Right, started.
要薄薄的。看到。
So you have to cut it so finely that you should be able to see the little marks in it. It's almost transparent, kind of like paper. So you have to actually cut it into really, really thin slices, and this will give it that fluffy, light texture that really makes the soup so delicious and so appealing. You know, when I first tasted it, I thought it was grated, but actually it's chopped very finely and very skillfully. So I think putting it in the water will make it sort of absorb some more of that liquid and make it even fluffier.
要不要试一下？
要。
我先把它修一下啊。
好。Actually, gonna let me try.
慢点，慢点，小心手指头。好，推，往前推。
I'm not the type to back down from a challenge, but this is a little over my head. 好了。
这个是绿豆淀粉。
I just managed. And hey, a little better than I thought.
Oh, hot.
Maybe much better.
Oh, here it is. Oh, look at that baby.
My strips are comparatively a little chubbier.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's a little different, a little thicker, but hey, got some character going for it. 好了？
这是配头。
好了。Now we're going to dress the radish.
先把这个慢点放上。
His presentation is elegant and symmetrical. Mine, not so much. Still, I'm pretty excited.
Hooray! Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? You know, it's not as delicate, but whatever. I'm going to taste it first. So good!
Okay, very excited.
能吃，可以。
I think that means it's awesome. Oh, I'm so proud of this. Really, I think I might have accidentally stumbled across a new kind of a recipe. I think it's really good. Wait, seriously, I could even have my own cooking show or something. Don't you think? There's lots of different dishes that I could try. It's like was at the land dish and, oh, wait, you know, where are you going?
Up next on Travelogue, we get a behind-the-scenes look at the colourful world of Henan Opera and escape the summer heat on one of Luoyang's most scenic walking trails. While driving through the outskirts of Luoyang, we get wind of a traditional performance taking place in one of the villages. We pull over and discover that a yuju, or Henan Opera, is about to take place.
So the performance is about to start and we're going to head backstage to get a bit of an insider look at what's happening behind the scenes.
Apparently, the performers are all part of a special troupe called Zongxi Xiaxiang, which literally means to send opera down to the villages. Sponsored by the provincial government, they travel and perform throughout rural Henan. I meet passionate performer Zhu Mengwan, who invites me to give it a go.
Okay, well, she's going to put some makeup on me and teach me a little bit of juju. So, go ahead.
The makeup is quickly piled on and feels a bit gooey on my face.
This is what women wear just before they get married, so.
Now that I sort of look the part, she teaches me how to sort of act it too. Traditional opera uses many movements and gestures to tell the story, and Zhu Mengwan demonstrates a crucial one.
Oh, she's teaching me what to do if I'm very, very sad and I'm going to basically take off. Well, the performance has started. Let's go have a look at it.
Blockbuster movies may have overtaken operas as a form of mainstream entertainment, but only decades ago these young men and women might have been considered megastars. To the untrained eye, it may seem just like Peking opera, but yuju from the operas performed in other provinces. The stories mirror the lives of ordinary people. With its strong use of rhythms and colloquial language, yuju is said to reflect the nature of Henan people, outspoken, down-to-earth, and having a good sense of humour. And mainstream or not, this devoted crowd certainly appreciates it.
You know, I've always had a little bit of a thing for performing on stage. Never did anything about it though, but oh, how I wish one day I could join them. But sadly, not tonight.
Now, Luoyang is not just about culture. There's also a lot of natural scenery to enjoy as well. And this is some of the best.
Well, it's a hot sunny day, but I'm still in the mood to enjoy the great outdoors. Hopefully without coping with the sun. And I've been told that this is the place to do it. This is called Longtan Da Xiaogu, which means Dragon Pool Valley. And if we go inside, well, you'll see what I mean.
While temperatures soar above 35 degrees outside, in here, it's very cool and comfortable. No wonder the locals love visiting during weekends and holidays. Winding walking trails lead you through the narrow gorge, past a waterfall, and dark, quiet crevices. It's the perfect place to get a sense of Henan's natural environment, with its dry, rocky terrain and mountainous landscape.
know, we've seen some pretty ancient things here in Luoyang so far, but this is something else. This is millions of years old, except back then, where I'm standing would have been the bottom of the ocean. Pretty mind-blowing to comprehend.
And as with almost all things in Luoyang, there's more to it than meets the eye. This ravine not only has a fascinating geological story, it's also filled with old tales, pagan fables, as well as Buddhist legends. Mysteries are everywhere. For example,
if you look over here, you have this really cool effect. Looking at the rocks from where I'm standing, it actually looks like the water is flowing upwards. But in fact, your eyes are lying to you. It's just because of the way the rock is angled, the formation of it, that it seems that way, but really, it's flowing downwards like usual. Pretty cool trick anyway.
The 12-kilometer valley was formed by flowing water over millions of years. Along the way, in the various layers and colors of the rocks, you can observe the different stages of the mountain's evolution, from the ancient past to the present.
Well, I can see just around the corner this path is coming to an end, and sadly, so is this episode. You know, we've come to Luoyang and experienced so many things which are key to Chinese history and culture, but in this city, they aren't just consigned somewhere to some dusty corner. They're alive and well for people to engage with and learn from. And coming to Luoyang, I really get that wonderful sense that people will continue to come and do those things for hundreds and thousands of years to come. I'm Katrina Yu. Thank you for joining us in Travelogue, and we'll see you next time. Because it has a very significant story attached to it. It was built by Emperor Wen, and during the Wei dynasty there was a particular tradition. Once the emperor is named as the next leader of the country, they would then execute the mother, and he was named at the age of 3 as the next emperor. This was to prevent the mother from having too much power over her young son. So when you look at this cave and you look at the happy, smiling faces, you feel the devotion that the emperor must have had to his parents and to his mother, even though he lost her at such a young age.
The statues in the Longmen grottos were built mainly during the Northern Wei and Tang dynasties, and the differences between the periods can be seen in the statues themselves. Those sculpted during the rule of the Northern Wei, but the area also has its own train station. A 15-minute train journey will take you to the grottos, which occupy a 1-kilometer stretch facing the Yi River.
Okay, so here at the entrance of the Longmen grottos, I've got my ticket with a very handy map on it, and they provide audio guides, which is really useful because there's lots of information to take in. But if you're more like me and you prefer a bit more of a one-to-one experience, you can hire your very own personal guide. Hi, I'm Katrina.
Hi, I'm Lily. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lily. I see you've come from the tourist center?
Yeah, the tourist center, they could provide the hot water, newspaper, umbrella.
The Longmen grottos are considered one of the finest examples of Chinese Buddhist art in the country, and were inscribed on the World Heritage. In this episode of Travelogue, we head to the outskirts of the ancient city of Luoyang. We come face to face with the giants of the spectacular Longmen grottos, stroll through the gardens of China's first official Buddhist temple, and get a taste of the delicious and elaborate Luoyang water banquet.
We're in the ancient city of Luoyang, which is a haven of history. Now, there's plenty of Chinese culture to be learned about inside the city, but further afield, there's also so much to see. And today, we're going to take you to the cradle of Chinese Buddhism. Hi, I'm Katrina Yu, and welcome to Travelogue. But first, let's start out in the iconic and spectacular Longmen Grottos.
The Longmen Grottos are situated about 12 kilometers southeast of Loyang city center. It's an hour-long bus ride, closed in the year 2000. There are more than 2,000 caves altogether. The 3 Binyang caves were built around 1,500 years ago.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, according to the history book, Binyang Cave, they were built by the Emperor Xiaowen of Wei Dynasty. He used 24 years to build a sculpture for his father and mother to pray.
This one here in particular.
Yeah, for the labor, about 800,000 labor to the craft.
800,000 for one cave or
Only
for
for
the
one cave.
For one
Yeah,
cave.
for
That's
the cave.
amazing.
Yeah.
I like this cave in particular.